Here we go, part 2, segment 2, FBTV Radio Live on this Friday, February the 7th. Yeah, we're about 17 minutes into this Friday, FBTV Radio Live. Talking about a lot of stuff today. Yeah, we hit on politics. If you missed it earlier, you want to catch it on the replay. Politics. Yeah, there's politicians say the darndest things. All right, what's going on today? Morning coffee. Hey, if you have not found the FBTV morning coffee yet, well, you owe it to yourself to find it. Every morning, 6 a.m., the podcast becomes available. Yes, it's a podcast, and you will find it on your favorite podcast app as FBTV Morning Coffee. Couple of minutes every morning, having a cup of coffee, talking about specific topics. This week, we've been focused on new truck drivers. Everything from, why you have to take that silly skills test. You're scratching your head going, why do I got to know how to do this? I'll never use it, all the way through to getting along with the dispatcher and things like that. Moving on to different companies and such. But that's been the focus this week. But every week, we get together every day, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. It's going to be available. And we get together and talk about different things. Coming up on the FBTV Insider Weekend, if you're not an FBTV Insider, well, why not? You should be. FBTV Insider. Check it out. You'll find it at FBTV, Freight Broker TV, FBTVinsider.com. And if you're still having trouble finding it, just go to the FreightBrokerTV.com website, and there will be a link there. You'll find it. But you can register for free to become an insider, gain access to all the free content. The free content's going to be, well, pretty much everything we make available to everyone. On YouTube, our podcast, videos that we make available. Well, that's YouTube, obviously. The radio broadcast, you got play-on-demand radio broadcasts there from past FBTV Live episodes. Now, you can become an insider, and you can pay for access to the insider content area, and you have access to all the insider only content, I should say. Now, here's an example. There's insider videos, there's insider podcasts, there's insider box lunch we do. It's a live program we do on Tuesdays at noon. But it's just more information, more content for you. If you're into the transportation industry, yeah, it behooves you to check it out anyway. And for $25 a year, for crying out loud, well, less, $24.95 a year, $2.99 a month, something like that. And it's growing all the time. Yeah, we just started with FBTV Insider, maybe not even a month ago, not even 30 days ago, less than that maybe. But it's growing. Now, here's the deal. As an FBTV Insider, every weekend we do something special for our Insider-only people that are registered. This Friday, we have a FBTV Insider Weekend starting at 6. They start at 6 every Friday. But this weekend, FBTV Insider Weekend, is the Freight Broker Training Series from Tautoa, and it's going to be good for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a trucking company, if you're a broker, whatever, but this weekend's FBTV Insider is part of the Tautoa Freight Broker Training Series, Prospecting, Finding Shippers. That's if you go to our YouTube video, the ones that we're talking about, hey, how do you find customers? How do you get shippers? How do you do this? How do you do that? Those are our most watched videos. And this weekend, FBTV Insiders that have access to the insider content area, they're going to get the Prospecting Finding Shippers video that Tautoa uses in its training. That's going to be available to them. So you may want to check that out. And it's going to be available all weekend. Now, truck drivers over the last few days have been having a big problem here. Fuel cards not working. There's nothing more disappointing that being a driver, you got to get fuel. Man, you got the motor running. I mean, you're in that drive mode. You didn't even want to stop to get fuel because you're in that mode, but you had to because you're on E. You get in there, you fuel up, check your oil, clean the windows. You pull up after you fuel up, you go inside to the fuel counter, you hand them your card, and the most disappointing thing in the world is the person behind the counter looks back at you and goes, "Hey, sorry, man. Your card refused the transaction." If you've ever had that happen to you, it's aggravating. It's disappointing. It makes you mad. It really does. The first thing you probably start thinking about if you're a driver and your card doesn't work is something's wrong with the trucking company. They're going out of business. They must be. They don't have enough money on the card, whatever. That's the first thing you're going through your mind. But not this time. Started Tuesday night, multiple truck drivers on social media reported their EFS fuel cards weren't working due to a systems failure. This is the real deal. If you're having trouble with your fuel card, don't be panicking. It's really happening across the country. It's not your carrier going out of business. There are problems in the system. Fuel cards affected by the server outage include TCH, T-Check, Fleet 1, EFS. Now, it's been intermittent, hit or miss. Some drivers said they've had no issues. Others just not working for them. Now, EFS has confirmed that it is a server issue, and hopefully by the time you hear this, everything's been corrected. Hopefully by now you're hearing me, and if you're hearing me in a replay mode, you're not listening live, well, hopefully by the time you hear this, you'll know it's fixed. They say it's not clear how much longer it's going to take to get it fixed, but it's on the way. This happened, not that this is any type of a malware attack or anything on the system. I mean, it may turn out to be that way, but you think back a month ago, man, truckstop.com, they got hit. And it took several weeks before everything got back to normal. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it is now or not. It appears to be working. I don't hear any more rumblings out there, but you never know. There could be things. But boy, that's a scary deal. That is a scary deal. Diesel has dropped this past week over a nickel a gallon. Now, some of you may be wondering, well, how do you know that? Well, because the Department of Energy, DOE, puts out the average fuel cost per week every Monday. You do a search on the internet, find it. Gives you a breakdown across the different regions of the country. And you'll laugh, too, because you're going to find that California is considered a region all its own. But on average, diesel fell 5.4 cents per gallon, all the way down to $2.95 a gallon, so it's below $3 a gallon. And that's good. That is good. It's good for everybody. All right, what do we got going on here? Yeah, we'll talk about this. We'll get into this. We'll talk about this now. Talk about this now. No, we're not either. We're going to wait. Talk about that in a minute. All right. Let's talk about OOIDA. For somebody that doesn't talk about OOIDA very much, I sure have been talking about them a lot here lately. What was it the other day? I don't remember now. But I thought it was funny. That's why I talked about it. But this one, okay, this is a pat on the back for him. This is a true pat on the back. The executive vice president for OOIDA, Lewie, Pugh, he testified this past Tuesday in front of the U.S. Senate Transportation and Safety Subcommittee. And here are some highlights from what he testified. This quote. He says from the perspective, and he's talking to the U.S. Senate now, okay, from the perspective of a small business motor carrier and professional drivers, the state of the trucking industry is dysfunctional. Couldn't have said it better myself there, Lewie. This is because too many people who know virtually nothing about trucking have an oversized role in shaping trucking policy. This is what I've been saying over and over and over. You got people behind the desk in Washington making and getting laws passed that couldn't even get in a truck and start the silly thing, let alone get it in first gear and get it moving, let alone get it in reverse and back it up in a straight back. This is a lot of the problem with the industry. Drivers feel the negative effects of this firsthand, he says, himself included. The hours of service rules are broken. They have been. Even back in 2004, 2005, when they tried to change the 50-year-old past rule, the 10-8 rule, trying to get it going with what we got now, it's just been a joke. One joke after another. There are hundreds of regulations that have nothing to do with highway safety. Amen, brother. You're preaching to the choir. The lack of available truck parking is a national crisis, and it always has been. As soon as the first truck hit the road, somebody somewhere should have known, this is going to be a problem. And you know what used to really irk me when I was driving? You could not find parking to save your life most of the time. And then you drive by a rest area that the state had closed because they weren't going to provide the upkeep anymore. How hard would it have been just to make that a truck parking only area? I mean, seriously. Seriously. Now, anyway. What else does he say here? Enforcement is often motivated by profit. Amen, brother. I mean, seriously. Drivers work extremely long hours with notoriously low pay. Some, maybe. Well, the problem is that he talks about the ELDs too, I think, in here. Yeah, he's talking about get rid of them. But anyway, Washington has allowed trucking policy to be overly influenced by executives looking to maximize profits. Activists who'd like to regulate truckers to oblivion. Amen. State and local governments who view truckers as rolling piggy banks. Hello, Connecticut. We'll get to that before we're done today. And the self-proclaimed experts who don't even know what the inside of a truck looks like. Huh? Now, on truck drivers' view of Congress, he says, if you ask most drivers what Congress has done recently to improve their profession, the answer would be simply nothing. Not a doggone thing. Congress, the government, has not done anything to improve trucking. In fact, most of OOIDA's members would tell Congress that they enact laws that drive people away from the industry and decrease highway safety. Yeah, I can't argue with that. He goes on to say, look, this isn't a partisan attack against Republicans or Democrats, but rather an honest reflection on how truckers view Congress. He's right. He's right. And you know what? They probably listened to him, and they probably walked behind closed doors, poured them a glass of scotch or bourbon or whatever, and laughed about it. Those silly truckers, they don't vote. Granted, a lot of them don't, because they're on the road. A lot of them won't do the mail-in ballot, absentee ballots. One, they don't know about it, maybe. Two, they kind of throw up their hands and go, why? Why should I? not going to change anything. Not the right attitude. I know that. We all know that's not the right attitude, that you should, be civic-minded and vote. But what? Just look at the logbooks. For the last 15 years, I've been trying to get it right, and it's still not. They make mountains out of a molehill. I mean, it's crazy. It just, honestly. Now, he goes on to say on what lawmakers can do to help truck drivers and improve highway safety. First, repeal the failed ELD mandate. Here. But like I said the other day, don't count on it. ELD is going to be in the trucks forever. Too many, and he says it back here. Talks about the people in, executives looking to maximize profits. Too many executives, too many companies have a lot of money involved. They've sunk a lot of money in buying politicians to get them to pass this silly thing, ELD mandate, so they can make money off of it. It don't work. It's useless. It's terrible. Repeal the overtime exemption for drivers and the Fair Labor Standard Act. Provide dedicated funding for new truck parking capacity. Create a fair process for drivers to appeal inspection violations written in error. Fix the nation's crumbling infrastructure in an equitable way. Do not mandate speed limiters. Do not mandate front and side under-ride guards. Do not mandate higher insurance minimums. Yeah, we talked about that guy before, too. Some senator somewhere trying to get that done. Do not, he got in a lot of trouble, though. That not flying. Do not enact a truck-only vehicle miles traveled taxed or expand tolling authority. Hello, Connecticut. Do not pass the Drive Safe Act. Hey, OOIDA, I pat you on the back again. You are right there on top of it again. I've said this before. Me and OOIDA, we will butt heads from time to time, because sometimes you can tell when they got a membership drive, they're blaming brokers for all the truck owners' problems. But other times, they are flat, dead-on accurate. And this is one of those times. Hey, my hat's off to you, Lewie. My hat's off to you. One, for taking the time to go to Washington and talk, knowing the people you're talking to. I think you get a lot more done talking to kids in kindergarten than trying to go to Washington and get them to do anything worth a flip that would help the trucking industry. But anyway, maybe I shouldn't get on my soapbox like that, but my hat's off to you.